President Donald Trump returns to power on this historic inauguration day.
And WGN's Brona Tumulty is joining us now with details on how things unfolded thus far. Hi, Brona.
Good evening, guys. It's been a very busy day indeed. Just inside of the last 20 minutes or so, the president's third speech of the day wrapped up inside Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. He also signed nearly 80 executive orders, or promised to sign them. Some of those will be signed in the Oval Office very shortly. Those executive orders roll back a multitude of Biden-era actions, and this follows earlier speeches today and, of course, the swearing-in.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Donald Trump is now the 47th President of the United States, sworn in this morning, promising to act promptly and declaring the golden age of America begins now.
From this moment on, America's decline is over.
He spoke on returning the country to being greater, stronger and more exceptional than ever before, whilst vowing to confront a crisis of trust between citizens and Congress.
We will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day.
The president also talked of his path to this point, after being ousted from office 4 years ago and since overcoming impeachments, indictments and a pair of assassination attempts.
But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again.
But the speeches were not over, with lengthy off-the-cuff remarks then made in Emancipation Hall.
So I decided I'm not going to make this speech complicated. I'm going to make it beautiful.
Trump returning there to topics that included voter fraud.
I think we would have won the state of California because, if you look at my numbers with Hispanic, we're at 56%. And we were winning. We won the Texas border.
Rigged elections.
This time we made it too big to rig. It was so big. They tried like hell.
And the building of the border wall.
Now that you have a new president, that wall will go up so fast.
Now, the swearing-in ceremony was, of course, moved indoors to the rotunda due to the cold, which is the first time that has happened in about 40 years. President Trump did just make an appearance at the Capital One Arena. Those speeches just wrapped up, and there are a trio of balls to attend tonight, so lots of celebrations still to come in D.C. Micah, Ray?
Thank you, Brona. President Trump signing dozens of several executive orders on his first day in office.
And the president declared a national energy emergency and reversed some of President Biden's climate orders to prioritize drilling. And he's rolling back protections for transgender people. But the majority of his executive orders focused on immigration. The president taking aim at his predecessor as he declares a national emergency at the southern border and prepares to send the military there.
First, I'll revoke nearly 80 destructive and radical executive actions of the previous administration, one of the worst administrations in history, maybe not one of them, the worst. Anybody that would allow millions of people to pour through our borders from jails, prisons, mental institutions, insane asylums, gang members to be taken over.
And Trump also ended birthright citizenship as well as catch and release policies and resuming construction on the southern border wall.
New poll measures what U.S. adults think of Trump's day one priorities. About half of polls withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement, which the new White House announced almost immediately. Many don't support the new president's approach to energy production, which involves increasing oil drilling on federal lands. 4 in 10 oppose it. Most also don't support changing birthright citizenship. Currently, children born in the U.S. are considered citizens, even if their parents are undocumented. Those polled are split on mass deportations. Most support deporting immigrants who've been convicted of a violent crime.